Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is episode 44 of High Street Sports. My name is Chris. This is John Ross. This is a Super Bowl edition of High Street Sports for the first time. John Ross, what's going on, man? What do you think about the championship Sunday in the NFL? What are you most looking forward to in this Sunday's game?
Most looking forward to commercials, the halftime show, and maybe a little. I know I'm excited about the football, even though I got both my championship game picks wrong. I picked the Ravens. I actually picked the. If you play the tape, I picked the Ravens to quote beat the shit out of the Chiefs. That did not happen. And then I picked the Lions to win. Dan Gamble screwed that up for me. He gambled and he lost twice, actually. But yeah, still good games. First one was more defensive. If you like that kind of stuff, it was pretty good. And then the second one, really good comeback by the 49ers. But yeah, Super Bowl should. Two teams that have been right at the top of the league the past few years, especially the Chiefs. And yeah, excited to talk about it. We'll talk about the halftime show. Talk about conspiracy theories of who's going to win and for what reasons. Chris has all the facts.
I have a few of the facts. I can remember most of them by the time we get to that point in the conversation. However, I mean, it's just worth a conversation. You mentioned Dan Campbell in the open here, and how the Lions kind of gambled that one away. I don't know what it is about these analytics departments and these head coaches and offensive coordinators and things. Just in a playoff game, you got to take the points, right? Like, and I guess it's twice now that the Lions did that, and it kind of bit them in the ass both times.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got it in a situation where it's win or go home. They end up losing by 3 points in that game, and you're sitting there thinking, well, maybe if we would have just taken those points,
I'm pretty sure both of those ended up being a drop by a receiver, and I want to say it was Josh Reynolds on both of them.
So. Yeah, which you kind of look back there and there's a lot of what ifs, but I don't know, man. Like, obviously, if they catch that ball and maybe they go down and score and win that game, then this conversation is completely different. But on the other side of that, the Lions are sitting here thinking, well, damn, we were that close after however many years it's been since they've been there.
Yeah,
it had been it had been several years, several decades.
That was their I think this was their first playoff win in 32 years, so older than both of us.
Which is crazy to think about. And then you make it there, make it to the NFC Championship game, and then you analytics your way out of it. Just kind of seems silly to me. I mean, I'm no mathematician, but last time I checked, 3 points is better than 0. So
probably a good thing that Dan Campbell didn't get to go to Vegas for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, with the Afor coined Dan Gamble, might not have been a good thing. But anyways. Some exciting games, as you mentioned, though, and as I've talked about, and as a lot of people have talked about, a lot of question marks for Lamar Jackson. We mentioned it on the preview for those games, that bit of a legacy game for Lamar. It might have seemed in that one. I think he played his ass off for the most part, but again, like, it just shows that if the Ravens are in a position to where they need to throw the ball to win a game. With Lamar Jackson, it just doesn't appear that they can get it done that way. Unfortunate that Mark Andrews wasn't, maybe 100% in that game. Didn't have J.K. Dobbins, didn't have their full complement of offensive weapons, but they still had enough out there for them to go and win that game, and they failed to do that against the, new-aged, almost dynasty Kansas City Chiefs, depending on what happens in this game on Sunday. But it sets up a very interesting, very intriguing Super Bowl between the 49ers and Kansas City Chiefs. This will be the 15th time that the Kansas City Chiefs and 49ers have played overall. Kansas City is 8-7 in those matchups. Kansas City, obviously the defending Super Bowl champions after beating the Eagles last year, could be the 9th team ever to go back-to-back in the Super Bowl. So there's, that at stake here in this game. It is estimated that nearly 68 million adult Americans will bet on the Super Bowl, which will undoubtedly be a record as the art of sports gambling gets legalized around the country, and so that's something to watch out for. A lot of conversation about
incredible
that.
The things you can bet on in the Super Bowl. You can bet on what
It's
song
nuts.
Usher is going to play first.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's the fan favorites of the over/under of the time of the national anthem, heads or tails, who will score first. I am picking Travis Kelce because of the Taylor Swift nonsense. They're gonna.
There's
Travis
also
Kelce's gonna
you can
score.
also bet whether or not Travis Kelce will propose if the Chiefs win.
Oh Lord Jesus, how long have they been dating?
I don't know. It's the beginning of the season, wasn't it? Earlier on the season.
Things move fast in Hollywood / the entertainment industry, I suppose.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce's going to undoubtedly score the first touchdown, and they're going to put that camera square into that suite. And sweet old Taylor Swift is going to be hugging and kissing on the Kelce's mom, and it's just going to be warm and fuzzies for everybody. It's going to be great.
She's not just. She's probably going to be asleep.
Well, yeah, she might be.
For those who don't know, she's coming. She has a show in Tokyo the night before.
Yeah, so I don't know if Taylor Swift partakes in any schneef, but she might need some to make it through that game. It will be, let's see here, the 8th Super Bowl for San Francisco. San Francisco has a 5-2 record in the Super Bowl, and it will be the 6th Super Bowl upcoming for Kansas City with a current record of 3-2. So those are some notes on the game coming up. Now to get kind of in the conversation here, what do you see being the X factor for either team going into this one? Obviously, you have the defense that San Francisco has, and really the defense that Kansas City has, and they're two pretty high-powered defenses. They can help out both offense. But what do you think? Is this going to be more of an offensive game, or do you see this being more of a defensive game?
I think it could, in the beginning, maybe the first 2.5, 3 quarters could be kind of a defensive slugfest. Like you said, both defenses are really good. The playmakers on San Francisco kind of jump off the page more than the Chiefs. But the Chiefs, I mean, they have Chris Jones. I believe, I haven't seen whether or not Willie Gay will be back this week. But if he's back, that's good for them. But yeah, I mean, you saw what they did to the explosive offense of the Ravens. They held them to 10 points, and they're just a methodical defense. Steve Spagnuolo is a really good coordinator. And then opposite side, you got Nick Bosa, Chase Young, his name Greenlaw. You got Fred Warner and Steve Wilkes leading that defense. So it's going to be interesting. Like I said, I think it'll be a defensive game for a good portion of it. X factors, I would lean toward the run game. Isaiah Pacheco for the Chiefs, if he can get it going, establish a run game against that defense, because like I talked about in the preview for the NFC game, the Niners, as good as their defense is, they don't stop the run very well. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery were running all over them, especially in the first half. So if they can get Pacheco stomping away down the field, they should be in good shape to open up the pass game for Mahomes and Kelce. And honestly, it doesn't really – I know all year the story's been made about Mahomes doesn't have any receivers, but he's showing he'll make a play when he has to, especially like that pass to MVS to seal the game against the Ravens. And, I mean, he still has Travis Kelce, one of the best tight ends in the game, as he proved again in the AFC Championship game. As far as the Niners, I think the X factor is I would say their secondary in the defense, like that back end, just because the Ravens couldn't get timely stops. The Chiefs converted third down over again against them. They couldn't get – the Chiefs only scored 17 points, but I feel like they dominated possession for a long time. The Ravens just really struggled to get them off the field, and they kind of had to rush their offense. They couldn't really get into a flow. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the back end of the Niners defense as my X factor for San Francisco.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the X factors that you can make the case for Kansas City, and you mentioned him, is Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and the way that he can, be that secondary receiving option for Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs, and kind of take some of the pressure off of Travis Kelce to go out there and make all those plays. I mean, everybody knows what Travis Kelce can do. He's already got a Hall of Fame career. He, is one of, if not arguably the greatest tight end to ever play the position, and, so to be able to have MVS as a guy that you can lean on to go make a play when the 49ers, inevitably double Travis to try and force Pat Mahomes to spread the ball out a little bit. MVS is going to have to be the guy to make those secondary plays in the pass game for Kansas City.
Too.
Yeah. So I mean, they're going to have a receiver step up. I don't know if Kadarius will play in this game. It doesn't really seem like he will after all that's gone on in the last, probably month.
According to him, just get him the ball. He's the number one receiver.
Well, you got to line up on side first, so we don't know if that's going to happen. And catch the ball. But yeah,
key factors in being a good receiver.
No, two essential pieces.
Some would say the keyest.
I would agree with that. I don't think you can be a receiver if you can't receive.
True.
Take that for what you will, Kadarius, but you got a couple issues
other than first, folks.
other than what you're claiming there. But yeah, I mean, MVS is going to be a big deal. As you mentioned, Isaiah Pacheco is going to be a big deal, and I wouldn't put it past Pat Mahomes to go out there and maybe try and make some things happen with his legs. If that pocket breaks down and he gets flushed out by the defensive ends for San Francisco that you mentioned. But one thing, if we're going to flip to the other side of the ball and talk about San Francisco's defense real quick, is Chase Young is going to have to figure something out. And I think he's kind of unfairly taking a little bit more heat than he should be, but there is definitely room for improvement.
He's got to show a little bit more effort.
Field. Correct. In those plays that he's not, directly involved in, he's got to, look like he wants to try in some of those plays more than he is. So Chase Young is going to have to show something. I mean, he's up for a new contract after this year. Not really sure that he's going to get the money that his old running mate in Washington got in Chicago, with Montez Sweat getting paid the contract extension that he did the week after he got traded to Chicago. So, it's a big prove it game for Chase Young. But on the other side of that defensive end is Nick Bosa, and we all know how Nick Bosa can be disruptive and go out there and make plays and really blow things up. And so for San Francisco, a lot of their success is going to come off of what that defensive front seven is going to be able to do for them. And if they can find a way to make Pat Mahomes' life hell, if they can find a way to make things uncomfortable and make Pat have to get the ball out of his hands quickly and not stand back in that pocket or allow him to break the pocket and make plays with his legs, it could be good for San Francisco. But the one thing that I'm still, and I both of us kind of ate shit in the preview show when we talked about Brock Purdy.
Yeah, he made me look dumb.
He made plays, and a lot of them with his legs, and he showed that he can run the ball a little bit, but he made some throws when he had to as well. So a lot of this game for San Francisco, obviously you have Christian McCaffrey, you have Deebo Samuel, and George Kittle, but a lot of this game is going to fall upon the shoulders of Brock Purdy. And is this moment too big for Brock Purdy? Both of us were impressed with what he did in the NFC Championship game. Do you think he's got it in him again to do it in the Super Bowl? I mean, this is the biggest stage that
I've got no reason to think otherwise. I mean, he's proven me wrong. I mean, I still am not 100% sold on him, but he made plays. He made it happen when he had to. Like you said, either with his legs or with his arm. He made timely passes, timely runs. He gets it to his playmakers. And Deebo didn't look like he was slowed down at all by that shoulder injury, and he should be even healthier this week, which is a scary thought for the Chiefs. And then, but yeah, I mean, I don't see why you can't trust Brock. I mean, I know this is the biggest stage in football, it's the Super Bowl, but Brock Purdy's given no indication that the moment's too big for him.
Yeah, and again, like with the weapons that he has, I mean, we talked about what Kansas City has on the offensive side of the ball there, but you could make the argument that Brock Purdy's weapons are a little bit better than
Pat 100%.
Mahomes has at his disposal.
Pat Mahomes is clearly the better quarterback, far and away, best quarterback in the league. I I can say that now. I was leaning towards some other people, but I mean, the dude just keeps winning. A lot of people were writing the Chiefs off at portions during the season, including the two guys on this show. But I mean, they're still here. They're not going anywhere, and it's mainly because of Pat Mahomes. Like I said, best quarterback in the league. So yeah, he's far and away better than Brock Purdy. But yeah, on the flip side, Brock Purdy's playmakers are far and away better than the Chiefs had. Could you imagine if Patrick Mahomes had McCaffrey, Debo, Brandon? We even talked about Brandon Ayuk. Like that dude is a beast, and he's going to get paid this offseason. And George Kittle. Like if the playmakers group was flipped, I would take the Chiefs by a lot in this game.
Yeah,
but it's not. And Brock Purdy is playing well. And I mean, I don't think this moment will prove to be too big. It remains to be seen. He's never been in the Super Bowl. If the moment is too big for him, we'll have to see. But he's given no indication that that'll be the case.
How much do you think that will play a factor? I mean, obviously, you've got the biggest watching audience of any sporting event throughout the calendar year is going to be, eyes on this game. You've got a stadium jam-packed full of people. The routine's a little bit different. The pregame is longer. The halftime show is longer. Things are different. I mean, everybody wants to, go into this game and pretend like it's just another game. Obviously there's all the coach speak involved and all that stuff, but it's no doubt a different environment. Like I said, things aren't the same as just another Saturday or a Sunday in November or December. So, there's something to be said for that. But I think, Kyle Shanahan is going to have him ready to go. But, I guess like you said, like just based on what we saw last week in the NFC Championship game, they had every opportunity to go out there and kind of piss that one away, but they didn't. And, in the second half, he stepped up and made the plays that they needed him to, and he put them in a position to win. So, I guess my question of, do you think that newness of the moment and newness of the situation is going to be too big for him? And I guess I answered my own question by saying no.
I mean, we'll find out early in the game if there's any early game jitters from him. But I mean, you kind of saw the same thing in the NFC Championship game. He settled in nicely. I mean, got good field position from Detroit's gambles, and obviously his defense did helped him out too. But he, like we kept saying, he made the plays when he had to, even when he had to drive down the field. So, yeah, I mean, you could see some early jitters from him being in this Super Bowl. But, I mean, like I said, I'm still not 100% sold on him. But, dude.
And conversely,
the dude's
on the other side of the ball for Kansas City, like that's not the same group that they've had on offense going into, the previous Super Bowls. The receiving group is different, like Marquez Valdes-Scantling.
Yeah, I think those Mahomes and Kelsey will have them ready though. I'm sure having Pat Mahomes under center that's a calming force. I'm sure this is his fourth Super Bowl appearance.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it'll be a lot of storylines on each side. But as far as I don't think we talked. There's not many injuries on either side either. The biggest one for the Chiefs would be Joe Tunney, their offensive lineman. He's most likely not going to play. Looks like. He's questionable. Sky Moore's, I don't know how he's listed as questionable. He's most likely not going to play. But Sky Moore might play, another receiver for Patrick Mahomes. He was limited in practice. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Pacheco is still nursing a little bit of I think it's a toe injury. But he looked fine against Baltimore. Chris Jones is on the injury report. He's going to play, obviously. And Willie Gay, it sounds like he was a late scratch for the Baltimore game, so it sounds like he was close to playing, but, I mean, he does have a neck injury, so that's not something you want to play with. So,
right.
I mean, he's had 3 weeks now, including that week for Baltimore to get ready, so it sounds like he's going to play. And really no injuries of note for the Niners. George Kittle and Eric Armstead are on the report, but they're going to play. There's nothing serious. It's just maintenance for them leading up to this.
And then you mentioned the Deebo Samuel situation, and he didn't look to be slowed down in the NFC Championship game, and he gets another week of rest leading up to this one. So,
obviously he wasn't targeted as much as he usually is. I didn't feel like, but I mean, he made a play when he had to.
Yeah. So, I guess in this one, Do you know what the over under is, or what anything
The
stands out right
Niners are
now?
favored. The last one I saw earlier this evening was Niners are favored by 2, and the over under is 47.5.
That's an interesting for the Niners to be favored. I feel like, but I think when you look at the defense, I think they might give the slight advantage as far as that goes, and the playmakers and things like that. 47.5. That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean
All right.
that's a solid. I mean, I think this will be. It feels like a lot of Super Bowls are like the winner is in like the mid to low 20s as far as the final score, and the loser is like low to high teens. That's at least that's just me like talking out of my ass. That's just what it feels like a lot of the times.
Yeah.
I know like last year's pretty high scoring, and I think and a few others like with the Eagles won it, that was pretty high scoring too. But it feels like a lot of them are like middle of the pack scores. So I think that's a good over under. We can get into picks unless you had any other storylines you had to discuss.
No, I think
Me-
the only other storyline here is that the Super Bowl is already at a conclusion. We already know what's going to happen. The Super Bowl takes place on February 11th. 2 plus 11 is 13. This
That one's
is
reaching. I'm just going to say
something along the
that's a
lines
reach.
of something involved with Taylor Swift's album is the number 13. Tokyo to Las Vegas, 13 hours. And there was something else to be the number 13. Can't remember. I saw this whole TikTok conspiracy that the script is already written. The Chiefs are going to lift this trophy. It's a foregone conclusion. Travis Kelce's going to propose.
I'd be
They're going to
lying
have
if I haven't
7.
thought that myself.
They're going to have 7 kids spontaneously right after the trophy gets lifted. Lombardi's going to get lifted. Taylor Swift's just going to have 7 kids in her arms. They're going to walk away in some horse-drawn carriage that's going to take them straight to Disney World's front door, and it's all going to be a fun time.
I have a storyline we can look at, and it's one we
Okay.
can look at a lot more closely because it feels like the past few years, a certain group in the Super Bowl feels a need to insert themselves near the end of the game to determine. I'm going to watch the referees very closely in this one because
I mean, there's already conspiracies that
I'm not a Ravens fan. I picked the Ravens. I was pulling for them, so you can say it's sour grapes. There were a couple calls in that game where I'm like, what is this? Like Travis Kelce was stirring the pot a lot. And that one play where Kyle Van Noy came up to his teammate's defense and shoved Kelce, and he's the only one that got a flag. Like, come on. Some of that, I like Travis Kelce, nothing against him, but he was shooting his mouth off a lot, trying and I get that's part of the game, but I mean, you got to call it fair both ways. So something to watch is the referees in this one. I mean, I don't like to be that guy saying it's all scripted, it's conspiracy theory, but a lot of stuff you see in any sport makes you wonder.
Oh, absolutely. And then again, like we mentioned earlier, 68 million people are going to be betting on this game, and that's the whole sports betting, and
it always seems like Vegas knows something we don't.
Well, the game is in Vegas too, so that's an even more.
Did you see that both teams are like in resorts on the outskirts of Vegas because the NFL doesn't want them in the city?
I can't say I blame them. I'd put Travis Kelce in Reno.
I don't know. He's a veteran. He wouldn't do any shit like that.
Yeah.
Like if you had I'm trying to think. I don't know. I don't want to call anybody out.
Yeah, but we all know. Yeah, we get it.
I mean, if you had like a rookie or somebody in there, that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, I hope that for the love of God, Vegas has figured out the playing surface debacle. And figured out this playing surface thing because about a month and a half ago, the pictures that were floating around of a reporter standing on the back of the end zone and kind of took his phone and panned across the end zone and showed what the playing surface looked like, and it was not very good. So
is it turf?
No, it's the field that UNLV I think plays on turf. But the Raiders play on the natural surface that rolls in and out, similar to how it does in Arizona. So hopefully they've
not turf.
No.
You would think thank God, you'd think the Super Bowl could get would be lucky enough to get real grass. Thank God.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of storylines to follow. Obviously, throughout the game.
Yeah, that's
there
what I'm
will
gonna be
be
watching closely. The boys in stripes.
things to look out for throughout the game. If you want to go ahead and lay your prediction out, go ahead.
So over the last few years of his career, Tom Brady became a player. And I don't mean I hate that I'm quoting Skip Bayless on this, but became a guy I just would not bet against. Patrick Mahomes is entering that territory, in my opinion. It seemed like there was going to be a little bit of a drop off this year. They're in the Super Bowl. I'm not going to bet against old Patty Mahomes anymore. I'm going to take the Chiefs in this one. I just think they've been here 4 times. They got veterans. They've got leaders in that locker room. I know they don't have the playmakers the Niners do, but I like what I saw of their defense against the Ravens. They really, really slowed Lamar and that offense down like no one had done all year. So, yeah, I'm going to take Kansas City. I'm going to say Kansas City 24, San Francisco 20.
I don't hate that at all.
I
don't hate that at all. I would agree with that. I had a conversation with somebody today, basically saying the same thing. Like it's kind of unbelievable when you really look at the numbers broken down and you look at what Pat Mahomes has been able to do in the postseason. And I'm going to flip back through here just to see if I have it, because I thought I wrote it down for the preview for the championship games, but I guess I didn't. I saw a stat somewhere along the lines that Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs alone, not including what he's done this postseason, he had a 13-3 record. He had somewhere upwards of like 4,500 or 4,600 passing yards, and his touchdown to interception ratio was unbelievable. Playoff Pat Mahomes is an MVP caliber player in itself.
Yeah.
Like, we obviously know that Pat Mahomes as a whole is an MVP caliber player, but playoff Pat Mahomes is a different beast than even just regular season Pat Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
And also couple the fact that he's got arguably the greatest tight end ever to lace it up. Andy Reid is an incredible head coach. They have a very good defense. They're no stranger to this moment. The only thing that bothers me about this situation is the playmakers outside of Travis Kelce and Isaiah Pacheco. And is that going to be enough? Can Patrick Mahomes make that work enough to beat a 49ers team who is, I don't want to call it playing with house money, because I don't think that's fair, because obviously the expectation for the 49ers has been to make it to the Super Bowl for the last probably 3 seasons. But in terms of doing it with Brock Purdy, I don't even think that, I mean, I think if you were to ask Brock Purdy if he thought that this was going to happen, I'm sure he would say yes, because obviously that's the type of competitor, that's the type of player that he is. But I don't think if you asked anybody, when they were searching for a quarterback and it came down between Brock Purdy and Trey Lance, and that whole situation happened, you get rid of Trey Lance, you insert Brock Purdy, you pick up Christian McCaffrey, you have Deebo Samuel, you have Ayuk, you have George Kittle.
I think Brandon Ayuk he's might slowly be turning in, especially in these playoffs, Brock Purdy's go-to target. I think the Chiefs need to hone in on him, or he can do a lot of damage like you saw he did against Detroit.
Yeah. But for me, I think the X factor here is going to be, can San Francisco's defense turn Patrick Mahomes over, which is something that has not happened very often in Patrick Mahomes' playoff career.
I think he's only been sacked twice in these playoffs too,
which is nutty to think about. And again, that's what we talked about a while ago. Nick Bosa is going to need some help getting after Patrick Mahomes. And obviously they have, Fred Warner, and they've got other playmakers around that defensive front seven, who, by the way, Fred Warner is a freak. But it's gonna be contingent upon what type of Chase Young you get in this game, what type of Nick Bosa you get in this game, and can San Francisco turn Patrick Mahomes over? My gut tells me no. Everything inside me is screaming at me no. However, there's something about Brock Purdy, and this is going to make me eat everything that I've said about this kid to everybody that I've talked to him about.
Sell out.
There's something about Brock Purdy. There's something about Brock Purdy and the 49ers that I think, after being so close the last 2 or 3 years, finally making it to the Super Bowl, having to get there in the way that they did 2 weeks ago against the Lions, this is hard.
It's okay.
This is hard for me to do. However, I'm going to go back to the old adage that we've said on this show for the last 4 months.
T-shirts.
And that's, which quarterback do you trust more in this situation?
And you trust Brock Purdy.
And I trust Patrick Mahomes. I think Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win another Super Bowl. I think, I agree with you. It's very much a situation of, like, it's getting hard to look at the Chiefs, even with their shortcomings, and look at Patrick Mahomes and say that they're not going to be able to get it done. So I've done it enough this season.
Patriots teams before.
Exactly. Like, even when the Patriots and Tom Brady didn't have, their best teams, or when their Super Bowl teams weren't as good as previous Super Bowl teams, it's hard to bet against the greatness.
And if the Chiefs do win this, they are approaching, like, Patriots territory as far as, like, the next dynasty we get to live through. Hopefully they don't. We'll see if they get as much hate as the Patriots did, from myself included, for a time. I came to respect it at some point, I guess. But yeah,
I don't think that Patrick Mahomes doesn't have nearly the hateable face and the hateable tendencies that Tom Brady did. So I think we're clear there. The only thing that I could see happening is people getting tired of the Taylor Swift thing, which people already are. So I guess if that's the case, and
I feel like after this year, you won't see too much of it anymore.
Yeah, after the newness of it all wears off, the novelty of it.
Plus, like we talked about, you can bet whether or not they will get if they win, Travis Kelce will pose or not. I feel like, after this year, I think it'll kind of die off. And honestly, to anybody who cares that much, like, she's on TV for a grand total of maybe 30 seconds every game. Get over it. Like, who cares?
Yeah, who cares? Yeah,
it's making people interested in football.
She's also been on TV for the better part of 20 years now. 15 years
my wife included, people telling me she's a very private person, from what I understand. So her doing this is very unheard of. So it's not very likely you'll see that much more of her after this year. And she didn't ask for it. The NFL is shoving a camera in her face.
And as if the NFL needed more eyes on the product.
Yeah.
They damn sure got it with all this stuff anyways. So, yeah. Whatever.
I had to call it the goofy people who keep complaining about it, because it's, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a big deal.
Just watch the Super Bowl and shut up. You're going to do it. You made it through the kneeling in the national anthem. You'll make it through this. Believe me. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm going to pick Kansas City. I think they win this one, and I think they win it sort of comfortably. I'm going to go 28-20. I think,
half a point over the over.
They'll win it by a touchdown.
I like it.
They will cover, and they will hit the over. Take it to the bank. Fade me if you want to. Probably a good idea to fade me on that. Not a great gambler myself, but it'll be fun to watch.
I looked up before this to see what kind of crazy bets are out there, like that one I sent you during the AFC Championship game where Lamar was over under half a reception.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
And you know there was some scumbag out there who bet on that too.
Oh, somebody got it. Some degenerate that might have needed to call the gambling helpline after he placed the bet. He definitely got it.
Yeah.
Which is good for him.
Yeah.
Good on you.
Plus 7,500.
Do the math.
Yeah.
It makes you a little bit of money. So yeah, I think both of us here are rocking with the Chiefs. So that will put a cap on the football season, which is always sad to come to the realization that it's all over until next year. But for almost every fan base in the world, there's always next year, and there will always be next year. So there's that to look forward to already. Guys, we are still close.
Sucks too.
Yeah, it does.
They're gonna come back and hurt me again.
It does suck.
Carolina
Take
Panthers.
it at the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, at least you guys are on the come up.
It was fun.
It's not over.
Thank you, Joe. It is for Joe. He said he's going to come back to be a backup, though, so that should be fun. But, whatever. But anyways, this is the last game preview of the season, of the glorious football season that was in our first season here covering football, or blabbing about football like we have. We are still not to 100 subs yet, guys, so if you could help us out with that, press the sub button. It's somewhere in this general vicinity right here-ish. It's free to do. It helps us even if you don't watch us. Hit the sub button, share, comment, like, subscribe, whatever you got to do. It all helps us out, and it's all free, so we would greatly appreciate that. But thank you guys for the support, for the engagement, for the views all football season. Kick rocks to the guy that unsubscribed, whoever you are, last week sometime.
We'll get you.
You know who you are, and you suck. But everybody else, we appreciate you. I will stick John Ross on you, though. We will find you, and we will cream you.
You heard the man.
But anyways, we appreciate you guys. We will be, around throughout the offseason for both the college football news and notes, as well as the NFL news, free agency, all kinds of draft talk, all kinds of things leading up to that. We will be here with basketball talk, hockey talk sometime, so there will still be a bunch of stuff coming out of High Street Sports in the wake of the football offseason.
I have a pop culture plug for the Super Bowl. For anybody who's interested, maybe this will gain us some subs. So another exciting thing, like I talked about beginning of the Super Bowl, is the commercials. You got commercials for Doritos, Budweiser, the Clydesdales, like always some fun commercials, new products coming out. And the best part to me, movie trailers. Mm-hmm. So here are some movie trailers that are rumored to be expected during the Super Bowl. Number one, this is the one I'm most excited about, and everybody should be excited about it. Deadpool 3.
Ooh,
with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
That's going to be sick.
Yes, it's Deadpool's first movie in the MCU. Now that Deadpool, it's a Disney Deadpool movie, so it's pretty awesome if you ask me.
Disney Deadpool.
So, and it will, quote in Ryan Reynolds' words, reset the MCU. So exciting. Another one, Disney, Inside Out 2. If you've never seen Inside Out, the Pixar movie, you should. It's a great movie. I'm excited about that one. And then you also have, what's another one? You got Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Great movie franchise. Yeah.
Nostalgic.
Yeah. And then what else we got here? We got a movie called The Fall Guy with Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. You got Kung Fu Panda 4. Love it. If you don't like Kung Fu Panda, something's wrong with you. If you don't like Jack Black, something's really wrong with you, and I want you to unsubscribe. I really do.
Yeah, if you're not a Jack Black fan, you need to get out of here quickly.
We won't miss you.
No. Get out.
Yeah. Oh, they're remaking Twister. I'm not a big natural disaster movie guy. Those hit a little bit too close to home because they actually happen.
They do.
I can watch
sometimes
animated movies about a talking panda because
it's fun.
I'm safe. Yeah, we're safe from that. Tornado movie, I'm good though. Ooh, Bad Boys 4. Oh no,
Huh?
that's fake news. Excuse me.
What did you?
Apparently that's in the works, but they will not be showing a preview for it.
Damn you.
Yeah, I wish that would happen too. Yeah, that looks like the main ones so far. A Quiet Place, if you're into that, if you're into those movies.
Not. I can close my eyes or go get a snack during that preview.
There you go. Let's see here. Yeah, that's pretty much the big stuff. Yeah, you got. They're making if you're into Sonic the Hedgehog, they're making a Knuckles spinoff. If you're into that kind of stuff.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that's pretty much the big ones. But yeah, definitely excited for Deadpool, Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah, and if you are new here, that was Movie Talk with John Ross. That podcast will be on our other channel coming soon. But anyways, High Street Movie Talk will be coming soon. Guys, thank you guys so much for being around for the football season with us. We will be back next year with even more stuff. So yeah, if you haven't subbed, sub, and if you unsubscribe, then kick rocks like that guy that did this week. Whoever you
and you
are.
probably don't like Jack Black, and like I said, bye. Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Probably don't like cookies or.
How could you not like Jack Black? He's God's gift to mankind.
Or anything funny or anything good in the world, you turd.
Yeah, you just go. Yeah, well, yeah. The guy who unsubscribed probably doesn't like Jack Black, so he did us a favor.
Yeah, well, good.
Or girl,
we told him to get out, and he did. Yeah, whatever. Anyways, guys, thank you so much. Enjoy the Super Bowl. We'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, guys.